I love to talk to politicians and to others and say to them, let's talk about cannabis. Let's reintroduce the word cannabis into our day-to-day vocabulary so that people will not have that shock value, will not have that fear. But let's realize that there are different parts of the cannabis plant as there is corn. It's as simple as that.
I think that language is really important and powerful, and I never use the word marijuana. The word marijuana was brought into our vernacular when Prohibition came about, and it was a part of basically the racist agenda that has to do with the roots of Prohibition. And if you are looking at engaging in this industry as an investor, and you're looking at how we can be creating sort of more profits and more wealth off of this industry, one of the first things that I would ask you to do is to inform and educate yourself about the true roots of Prohibition, what was happening culturally, and what the agenda was when the prohibitive legislation was put into law. To me, when my government legalized cannabis federally, it was the beginning of the end of a global war. And those are moments that you pause and you take in the seriousness of that. And I have such hopes for the United States to get to a place where you pass federal legislation, because you are going to send out that message to the world with a megaphone that really only America has the power to do in terms of influencing what happens at the UN. And this is about access to healthcare, it's about social justice, it's about solutions to climate change, but this is also very much about ending a war.
Once it became federally legal, as Hilary is suggesting we need to do with all cannabis, the level of interest from mainstream corporations, mainstream media, accelerated tenfold. I have now gone from speaking to from industry events, small groups, and we've all spoken to 2 or 3 groups and groups that are getting larger, but I'm now speaking to the American Bankers Association, to the Association of Finance and Leasing Administrators, to large organizations who now know that they can legally be involved in this space, and they haven't a clue what they can and cannot do.
To me, hemp is what we're using mostly for industrial purposes. But the hemp plant also produces CBD, right? So the hemp plant generally grows with high CBD and low THC. So you can extract CBD from it, which can be used as a therapeutic product. Right? It's very uncommon to find strains or varieties of the cannabis plant that grow well for fiber and all of the other things that you need for the industrial applications that are really high in THC as well.
When you have a commodity crop that can produce all these things, environmentally it could be a game changer. On manufacturing, on bioplastics, there are a lot of, if we can get this up to scale, which I know Jeff's working on, but if you can get it up to scale, you could be looking at a serious food and environmental crop, all the way to a medicine that we know GW Pharma and other pharmaceuticals are getting into. Once you start having this conversation, you're sort of, it's impossible to say we need to continue criminalizing one of the molecules, THC.
It's a grave injustice. Like the world is facing such incredibly complicated issues right now. Resolving this one, that we made a really big mistake prohibiting this plant and prohibiting all of its molecules. Fixing this one feels like a pretty easy thing that we could solve and maximize the incredible benefits of this plant in so many ways and move on to other more complex issues.
The role that all of us play in talking about this, in educating and encouraging people to look at this crop is vitally important. The one-on-one sessions with legislators, with people who are decision makers, to get people who are users of CBD and THC to kind of come together and have a different discussion about cannabis is really going to be important, because that is how we're going to start to change minds. The one thing that, certainly I know that Mark is really researching, and certainly we need the research in the United States, is what is called that entourage effect. CBD and THC, because there are many, many, many benefits that come from the combination. And people think, oh, well, I can talk about CBD because it comes from, that hemp crop. Well, you know what? We need to talk about it from a cannabis perspective, because we are just on the verge of learning about CBD and CBG and all the different elements that are there, plus the benefits that come from THC.